AMD buries the lack of VRAM performance issues under the rug during the RX 6500
So funny.
XT launch.
So funny. So funny. We talk all the time, and we've been talking about this mostly, I think, since AMD did their what was that advertising campaign? Like rebel against the big man.
I don't even remember.
Do you remember what that was? All the branding was like a riot. They had like people like at PAX. They had paid actors essentially. They weren't hiding it, like it was known, but they were walking around with protest signs, like protesting against the big tech companies and stuff. They've been trying to position themselves as like on your side, underdog this whole time. And then they make a post essentially marketing that 4 gigs of VRAM was not enough for gaming however long ago. I don't remember when. And then they release a card with 4 gigs of VRAM and they delete the post. They're not on your side. They're just not. Okay, come on.
Radeon 5500 XT 1080p gaming performance. What does it say? Yeah, 4 gigs is great. The gray bar. 8 gigs is the red bar. Available with 8 gigs RAM.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Notice there's insufficient video memory for the selected settings. That's bad. Oh man. AMD.
New card, 4 gigs RAM. Don't worry about that. It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
I mean, realistically, yeah, it is totally fine. They probably shouldn't have talked about it like that before. And by totally fine, I mean functional.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to explode. Is it ideal?
Like their processor.
No, it's not ideal. It's not even cheap. Like, how am I supposed to defend this?
I don't know.
The issue is the value of anything, right, is determined by what your other choices are. So if your other choices are nothing,
then it's valuable.
Then I guess it's a good deal.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at on this. It's in stock at, it's over MSRP. So the one that is at the $199 MSRP is out of stock. But there are 3 variants at $269. It is a graphics card that you can buy for a little over $250 that is capable of 1080p gaming. Is it a great value? No. Will you get texture pop-in issues? Yes. Will you experience stutter? Almost definitely. It's got a narrow 64-bit memory interface. I mean, going back to like the Radeon 9000 series, I am talking almost 20 years ago, right? Even then, like oh man, what was that? How far down did you have to go to find a 64-bit memory bus? It's like so bad. Oh. So the specs are 4 gigs GDDR6, 16 RDNA2 CUs at 2.8 to 2.9 gigahertz. At least it's like clocked high. It's the first GPU on TSMC's N6 node. So this is fresh production capacity, which might explain why it's actually still in stock. 16 megs of Infinity cache. One of the bigger issues is the Gen 4x4 PCI Express interface. Do you know about this? So if you plug this thing into a PCIe Gen 3 or heaven forbid, PCIe Gen 2 system, because you've got an older system and you just want a freaking basic card so you can play some freaking games, right? It could be running at literally 1/4 the PCIe bandwidth that system is expecting, because it's expecting a 16x interface and 3/4 of the fingers are just not wired up, essentially.
Yeah.
Now, one of the articles that I read recently suggested that this GPU was not intended for the desktop. It was intended for notebooks, like mid-spec notebooks, where the issues around its video encoding and decoding capabilities weren't going to be a problem because they'd be paired with APUs that could take over that functionality. It was also going to be beneficial to have a narrow by-4 interface to the CPU because it's more power efficient. So I heard actually what I thought was a pretty strong argument for the reason this thing is stupid on the desktop. It's never meant to be a desktop GPU, which was, I thought, a pretty good take on it. But it doesn't change the fact that AMD did release it
And hide their own old post.
and hid their own blog post.
So funny.
So the performance tanks by as much as half in our testing, while others reported that it performed substantially worse than its predecessor, the RX 5500 XT, when it was stuck with those 4 lanes running at Gen 3 speeds. In some games, even in Gen 4 mode, it was worse than its predecessor, and same with the 6-year-old RX 570. And the RX 570 was like a $200 and change GPU.
Max the Everything 7 on Flowplane said, I think the biggest reason for 4 gigabytes of VRAM was to prevent Ethereum mining, since that currently requires 4.6 gigabytes. I don't think that's the case.
I don't know. I don't know if I buy it.
If that was the case, I think they would have said something.
They did. They
About
did say
that?
they did say that, yes, but I just don't know if I buy it. I think that it's
I think
one
they're
of
just
those.
as happy to sell the miners as anyone else.
Yeah, I'm not convinced that AMD cares at all. I'm not convinced
Did
Nvidia
AMD
cares.
give us? This is not entirely fair, I guess, because I'm the one saying it. But did AMD give us any cards for the Verified Actual Gamer program?
AMD did.
Did they?
Yep, AMD
Directly?
did work with us. Yes, they did.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Cool.
Nvidia did not.
Yeah, I knew that part. I didn't think any vendor did. I thought it was all through third parties. but-
ASUS and MSI did. AMD worked with us directly
That's pretty
through
cool.
a board partner, so I believe they were ASUS cards.
Okay.
But AMD
Yeah.
secured the allocation for us. Yes.
Okay, cool. That's cool.
So
Yeah.
here's a discussion question. Did AMD take down the VRAM article on purpose? Absolutely.
Yes.
There's no way that wasn't on purpose. It was like the night before the launch or something
Yeah,
stupid like
it was
that.
definitely on purpose.
They should have taken it down like 6 months ago. Probably someone realized. They were like going through the
or just
collateral
not
from,
taking it down and just owned it.
from the last launch, right? They're going through it in preparation for the new one. Hey, what can we copy paste? Oh, crap. Probably something like that.
Removing it is just so obvious, though, and I'm sure they've gotten more bad press about removing it than they would have gotten if they just left it up.
But here's the thing. Is there a place for the RX 6500 XT? Does it suck? Yes. Is it cut down in ways that would have been inexcusable 2 years ago, a year ago even? Yeah. Is there a place for it though? This is my hot take. Yes. It's a card that you can actually buy. And the more people buy this card, the less demand there is going to be for everything else, because once you've got a card, once you're actually playing games, for most people, I realize I'm talking to my fellow enthusiasts right now. You guys go, what are you talking about? As soon as there's something new, I'm looking at it. I can smell the hardware. I can smell the hardware in the air, right? But most people are not like that. They get a new computer and that's it. That's their computer. So the more people pick up 6500 XTs, the more cards we get in the hands of gamers. And I was talking about something similar when we were discussing Arc Alchemist.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's the most power efficient. I don't care if it has the best performance. I don't care. I want cards in the systems of gamers so that the demand, this pent-up demand that is driving scalper prices higher and higher, can be alleviated. That's what we need. Does it have a place? Yes. Its place is in gamer systems, and if the performance sucks and it won't sell for $350 or whatever scalpers are trying to get for it, because you can still buy it new for $270, if it makes its way back down close to MSRP, that will put pressure on the next card above it, which will put pressure on the card above that, which will put pressure on the card above that. That's competition, baby. We want it. So having anything that people can actually buy is good.
I wonder if there's been a measurable change in monitor buying habits since the chip shortage.
Monitor buying habits. I mean, I've seen them be just like out of stock.
Are monitors out of stock too?
I mean, LG had a whole thing where with that 1 millisecond IPS panel, they like just couldn't get enough of them or something. I don't know if they're still. They were out of stock everywhere. I don't know if that's still the case, but I know Samsung seems to be pretty stoked with the pre-orders on that like weird monitor that they have. So,
walking around Best Buy just before Christmas, you like couldn't even move because the whole floor was just filled with TVs, and the whole warehouse in the back was filled with TVs. So they had like overflow storage on the floor, and you could literally like it was actually hard to navigate around the store because they had so many darn TVs. I haven't seen the shortage hit display as much as I have hit other things, but I'm not surprised it's hit it somewhat. But I just wonder, like, if you're looking forward, knowing like there's a giant question mark next to when you're going to be able to get your next GPU upgrade reasonably, Like, are you really trying to push like super high refresh rate displays, super high resolution displays?
Well, that's the thing, is they're making lots of GPUs. It's just that
You're just not getting them though.
the demand is not. The demand has been high.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think that as many people as ever are putting GPUs in their gaming systems. Like, they have ramped production in order to accommodate miners, and miners have been buying cards since before this big run up here.
Yeah.
So I think it's both. I think it's a combination of more demand from the crypto scene and a combination of more demand from gamers. More people have picked up the hobby.
Yeah.